Okay, so today we'll be looking at expanding brackets. All right. So before I dive into a few examples that will show you how to do this, I just want to touch up on a concept that many of you have probably come across, but maybe for some of you it's your first time seeing this. Okay, but nevertheless, I'm just going to touch up on it. Okay, so now let's say you're multiplying two numbers. All right, let's take this as number one, number two, number one, number two in each case. Okay, when you have a positive number, right, and a positive number, okay, let me just write that there, positive number, and you multiply two positive numbers, your answer will always be positive. All right, let's look at an example. Let's say you have the number 4, all right, multiplied by the number 4. Okay, you will get 16, and both of these are positive, and our answer is also positive. Okay, now let's say you have a negative number, right? A negative number. Let me just write this down. Let's say you have a negative number multiplied by a positive number. All right, I'm just going to draw an arrow here, all right, to avoid rewriting it. So let's say you have a negative number multiplied by a positive number. Your answer is always going to be a negative number. All right. So let's look at an example. All right. Let's take the number -4. All right. I'm just going to use the number -4 and 4 just to have some consistency and understanding. All right. So -4 multiplied by the number +4. All right, and this will give you the number -16. Okay, so if you see, this is a negative number multiplied by a positive number, and your answer is a negative number. All right, and this works vice versa also if you have a positive number multiplied by a negative number. Okay, now the third scenario that you get is a negative number. All right, I'm just gonna say just know that the color red is negative. All right, let's say you have a negative number multiplied by another negative number. All right, your answer will always be positive. All right, positive. Okay, let's take a look at an example. Let's say you have the number -4, all right, multiplied by another -4. Okay, this will give you the number +16. All right, so in this case we used a negative number, -4, multiplied by another negative number, -4, and your answer is a positive number. All right, now let's look at an example. Okay, in this example, we have 3 outside the bracket multiplied by x plus 2 in the brackets. All right, so to expand this, what we want to do is what I would like to call the monkey method. Well, at least that's what my teacher called it. I don't know if it's an official name or not, but yeah, let's just use the word monkey method, right? So what this means is that you take the number outside the bracket and you multiply it by the numbers inside the bracket. So 3 times x, all right, and 3 times 2. So how is that going to work? 3 times x is 3x, all right, and 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, and that is literally your answer, right? That's you successfully expanding that bracket, right? Now let's look at another example, right? You have 4x outside the bracket and you have x plus 3 inside the bracket. The same method applies. You take the value outside the bracket and you multiply by the value inside the bracket. So you have 4x, this is one value, right, multiplied by x, and 4x multiplied by 3. So what do you get? 4x, right, multiplied by x, right, plus 4x multiplied by 3. Now 4x multiplied by x will give you 4x squared, all right, and 4x times 3 will give you 12x, right? So this will be your final answer. All right, now we're going to dive into more complicated steps as we go along. Questions as we go along. Okay, let's have a look at example number 3. All right, this looks a bit more complicated, but it really isn't. Okay, In this case, you have y times 4y plus 2 inside brackets and negative minus 1 basically, right? And I put the 1 there just for demonstration purposes, and in brackets 2y minus 1, and even the positive before 2y is just for demonstration purposes. Okay, so as before, we're going to use the monkey method to multiply all of this out. Okay, so let's say you have y times 4y, right? And you have y times 2. Okay, and then same goes on this side, negative 1 times 2y, right? And negative 1 times negative 1. We have to make sure we don't ignore this sign here. Okay, so let's write this down. Y times 4y will give you 4y squared. 2 times y will give you 2y. All right, and then negative 1 times 2y will give you negative 2y. All right, negative, because remember, what we looked at earlier, a negative number multiplied by a positive number will always give you a negative number. All right, so that's negative 2y, and then you get negative 1 times negative 1. All right, both of them are negative, and negative times a negative will always be positive, so you get positive 1 plus 1. Okay, now we take like terms, and this thing can be simplified, right? This equation can be simplified. So we take the like terms, in this case 2y and negative 2y, and we simplify. So what you would get as your final answer would be 4y squared. All right, 2y minus 2y will give you 0, and then you're left with plus 1. So your answer is 4y squared plus 1. All right. All right, now let's have a look at example number 4. Okay, in this case, I'm just going to show you two ways to do this, to approach this question. All right, the first method involves you writing the value x, all right, and the value 3 separately, and the value inside this bracket in front of it. What do I mean by this? Let me show you. All right, so you have x, all right, x, which is this value here, okay, and then in front of it, I'm going to put x minus 2, all right, x minus 2, and then I'm going to have the value plus 3, I'm just going to put it here, and in front of it, I'm going to have the value x minus 2 again. All right, so I basically split this bracket into x and into plus 3, and I put the value in this bracket in front of both the values, and then the same as usual, I use the monkey method, right? X squared. Actually, I should find out if that's an official term, eh? But yeah, so x times x is x squared, x times minus 2 is minus 2x, right? Same method over here, 3 times x, 3 times negative 2, and even here it was negative 2, all right? Then you get plus 3x, right? And 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, all right? Let's collect the like terms, right? And then you get x squared, right? X squared minus 2x plus 3x will give you positive x, right? And then minus 6. Okay, and this is your final answer. All right, so the second method I want to show you is literally the same as, sorry about that, the same as what we've been doing this whole time. We just use the monkey method, right? So you get x times x, all right? And that same x is multiplied with, is multiplied with negative 2. Okay, and then we take this positive 3 and we multiply it by x and multiply it by negative 2. Okay, so let's write that down. So x times x will give you x squared, all right? And then x times negative 2 will give you negative 2x, right? And then you get 3 times x, and you get plus 3x, right? And 3 times negative 2, you get negative 6, right? Now we can simplify this. We can collect the like terms and simplify. and you get x squared minus 2x plus 3x will give you plus x minus 6. Now, if you notice, this answer is the same answer we got in the previous method of doing it, right? It's the same question. Okay, so now we're going to move on to a slightly more complicated problem. All right, I promise you it's not as hard as it looks. Okay, so like every other problem out there, this problem can be broken down into more simple problems, right? So let's take these two at a time, right? So let's ignore this for now, and let's have a look at this. Okay, so you have x plus 5 multiplied by x minus 3. Okay, same method as before. X times x times negative 3, positive 5 times x, positive 5 times negative 3, and you get x squared, right? X squared, which is this one right here, minus 3x, which is this one right here, okay, plus 5x, which is this one right here. Minus 3 times 15 is negative 15. Okay, so let's simplify this. Minus 3x and 5x are like terms, so you get x squared minus 3x plus 5x is plus 2x, right, minus 15. Okay, so this is our answer for this part over here. All right, now let's take this and write it in brackets. X squared plus 2x minus 15, right? And multiply it by what we initially removed, what we initially ignored, right? So you get 2x plus 2. Okay, now same method as before. You just use the monkey method. X squared times 2x, x squared times 2, right? Then you get 2x times 2x, and then you get 2x times 2, right? And then let me use a different color for this one. Negative 15 times 2x, okay, and negative 15 times 2. So what you're doing is multiplying every value in this bracket with every value in that other bracket. Okay, now let's solve this. I'm going to use the same color so that we don't get confused. Okay, so initially x squared times 2x, you get 2x cubed, right? Because x squared times x, right, you get x cubed. Then x squared times 2, you get plus 2x squared. Okay, now I'm going to use the different color for that part. Okay, then you get 2x times 2x, you get plus 4x squared. Because 2 times 2 is 4, and x times x is x squared, right? Then 2x times 2 will give you plus 4x, right? And then the final part, negative 15 times 2x, you get negative 30x. Negative 30x. All right. And negative 15 times 2, you get negative 30. Okay, so these are all the values we get. All the values you get after expanding the bracket. Now let's simplify this. Let's collect like terms and simplify, right? So now you get 2x cubed. If you go throughout this equation, right, you don't find another 2x cubed, so we just write it as, let me use this color, 2x cubed. Okay, now then you get 2x squared, and then you get 4x squared. So these 2x squared and 4x squared are like terms. So 2x squared plus 4x squared will give you, plus 6x squared. All right, then we have 4x and minus 30x. 4x and minus 30x because they're like terms. So 4 minus 30 will give you negative 26x. Negative 26x. Yeah. Okay. And then you just have the negative 30 at the end. Right. So this right here, right, will be your final answer. Alright, now let's have a look at our last example, right? It looks a little more complicated, but like I said before, break this down into smaller subproblems, and everything becomes so much more easier. All right, so now in this case, let's look at x plus 3 first. All right, let's have a look at x plus 3 squared. Let's ignore this, right? Let's ignore that. So x plus 3 squared, right, can be written as x plus 3 times x plus 3, right? And we have seen this before, right? We say x times x, right, times x times 3x, 3 times x, 3 times 3, right? So x times x will give you x squared, x times 3 will give you 3x, 3 times x again will give you 3x, and 3 times 3 will give you 9, right? We can collect the like terms, okay, and then we get x squared, let me just say equals, plus 3x will give you 6x plus 9. All right, that's your answer for the first part, right? Now let's have a look at x minus 2 squared. All right, so you have x minus 2 squared is the same as saying, sorry, x minus 2 times x minus 2, right? I'm just going to bring this down here, right? Now the same as before, x times x, x times -2, -2 times x, and -2 times -2. I cannot stress this enough. Don't ignore the signs. The signs are very important. That is where most people go wrong, right? So you get x times x, you get x squared, right? Then you get x times -2, you get -2x. -2 times x, again you get -2x. -2 times -2, you get positive 4. All right, let's collect these like terms, and you get x squared minus 2x, you get minus 4x plus 4, right? And that is your second part. Now let's write this together now, right? So you get x squared plus 6x plus 9, right? I'm just going to put this in brackets just to avoid confusion, right? Minus x squared, and I'm going to write this in brackets too. X squared minus 4x plus 4. All right, what do we do from here? Now if you notice, we have this negative sign here, right? So be very careful. We want to multiply this negative with the x squared, with the -4, with the 4, right? It's the same thing we've been doing this whole time, right? So what do we get? We get x squared plus 6x plus 9, all right? This negative times x squared will give you negative x squared. Negative times -4x will give you positive 4x, right? Then the negative times the plus 4 will give you a negative 4. All right, let's collect like terms. All right, you get x squared, and x squared being like terms, x squared minus x squared is 0, so we can cancel them out. All right, then you get 6x plus 4x. 6x plus 4x will give you 10x, right? And then 9 and -4. So 9 minus 4 will give you 5. So your answer is 10x minus 5. Imagine all of that just for this. All right, that's the end of the video. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and if you have any questions, please let me know down in the comment section below. And yeah, that's it. All right, thank you.